often sharing on here that I'm not into predictions. I just don't enjoy doing them. And I don't think I'm very good at them when I try it. I'm a reporter. I'm into telling you what's actually happened as opposed to, what's going to happen. There are people who are really, really good at that sort of thing. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Dan Szymborski is a longtime, well-known baseball statistician, not attached to any team, does it across the board. He's been with the Baseball Think Factory. He's been most recently with Fangraphs, and he has a system that's kind of got his name in there called the ZiPS projections. And these are about as good as it gets. They're not the only ones, but they're the ones that most people seem to pay attention to. And they do get results because one of the things that the model does each year is it shows you how it did, meaning the previous year. It puts several years of variables into any mix. It has different ways of weighing those variables. I'm not going to bore you with any of that. All you want to hear is how the Pirates are going to do in 2025. And I'm here to tell you that they're going to finish in last place again. That's just stunning, I know. But when it's broken down like this, it's got to be at least a little bit unsettling. The Pirates, if you pick them apart and then you compare them to the rest of the teams in the National League Central Division, they are the worst. Not because of some hot take prediction, not because of what so-and-so says or writes to try to get clicks, but because of an actual mathematical model that spits out numbers for the various individuals, values attached to those individuals. You add them up and you see what you've got as a team. So, for example, it shouldn't surprise anybody that the most valuable team or the highest rated one on ZiPS are the Dodgers. It also shouldn't surprise that Shohei Ohtani shows up as a 6.8. It's the highest figure I could find in the ZiPS models to date. If there's a higher one than that, I've either missed it or it doesn't exist. I don't know. I don't know how it could exist. So if Ohtani is a 6.8, and, well, here are the Pirates' numbers. Paul Skeens is a 4.5. And that's pretty good, to say the least. For a Pirate, it's out of this world. As a comparison point, I could share that Elly De La Cruz of the Reds is a 5.0, so he's even higher than Skeens, but then that kind of stands to reason as well because an everyday player is going to have a bigger impact on your team than most starting pitchers. Now, I'm going to work my way around the horn here with these figures, and they're attached somewhat to positions, if I understand this correctly. So if O'Neal Cruz is a 3.1, that's representing center field. If Brian Reynolds and Nick York are a 2.2 in left field, that's because they're put together in some form. Right field, is Josh Palacios, Jack Sawinski at 1.5. Third base, and they presume a lot here with Ke'Bryan Hayes because they've got him playing 140 games, which would really be news unto itself, is at a 2.5, the position shared with Jared Triolo. Nick Gonzalez, 2.6. Spencer Horwitz, the new first baseman, at 2.4. Joey Bart at 2.1. The DH position, Andrew McCutchen and presumed here Reynolds and Andy Rodriguez, is a 0.7. The starters as a whole don't do as great as you might think. That's because after Skeens, Mitch Keller has a nice 2.8. Jared Jones has a 2.7. Bailey Falter, a 1.4. Johan Oviedo, 1.6. Bubba Chandler, 1.0. It's really hard to put any kind of huge expectations on any rookie. And then the relievers as a whole, like as a unit, they're not broken down yet individually. That'll be coming out in their publication soon, are a 2.9. And again, for some perspective, the Brewers are a 5.1. The Cubs are favored to win the division. The Reds are expected to be behind them in second place. And then the Brewers, who would fall back a little bit. And you don't have to ever wonder if the Cardinals are going to finish ahead of the Pirates. They've done that every year for a quarter century now. And there it is. That's your ice cold, no emotion, no, I don't like these guys, no, even professional, I think they should be fired. None of that. None of that. This is just math. And I'll repeat that if you go back and look at the recent Zips history, yeah, of course you can find mistakes. They're not I shouldn't even call them mistakes, misfires, things that just end up happening that are wholly unexpected. That's just life. But when you look at how close they come, that's a pretty dark outlook. Now, you can say, well, they're not done. They said over the weekend they're not done. They're going to keep adding, and they can go out and get themselves a right fielder, but who's left? And for that matter, what's to stop the Cubs or the Reds or the Brewers or the Cardinals from getting better between now and spring training? So this is a snapshot in time. These are players who are either on the roster or somewhere in the organization and have a chance to be on the roster in 2025. Last place, again, when we come back, J1Q.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragececk.org. That's gunstoragececk.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Mitch. It's pretty short and to the point. Mitch asks, do they think we're stupid? It's one of those things that if you say so-and-so thinks you're stupid, it sounds over the top. It sounds like a cheap shot. It sounds like a dagger that you would send the way of somebody that you legitimately don't like. And I can only speak for myself here and say that's not really it. Okay? I don't think these are, like bad people or mean people or anything like that. Personally, have never had a bad experience with any of them. But yes, actually, they think you're stupid, at least relative to what it is that they know about baseball and the process of organization building and so much more. And I really, and this was naive on my part, I didn't think anyone could outdo their predecessors in that regard. I really didn't think that the Neil Huntington, Kyle Stark, Frank Coonley administration could be topped when it comes to condescension. But these guys have done that. The one thing that Neil Huntington in particular did not do was gaslight. He wouldn't say things for the purpose of gaslighting. Ben Cherington's done that multiple times, most prominently, of course, with his declaration that the Pirates won more games in 2024 than they did in 2023, when, they won 76 in each. Now, does he think we're not capable of looking at the standings? No, of course not. What he hopes to do, I believe, with a statement like that, is convey the concept that, yeah, they were in it a little bit longer, they had some better times, they were couple of games over 500 around the time of the trade deadline, and thus, in his mind, I'm sure, progress was made. Baseball, as a sport, has never worked like that, though. You know, that's why baseball has 162 of these things, to take all the other math out of the equation. You can add 1 billion additional elements to things that you'd like to analyze from a team perspective, from an individual perspective, and you're still going to finish up the same place that the Hannes Wagner Pirates did, where you're just counting the W's and the L's, and that's it. So for 5 years or 4 years or whatever, as Charrington strikingly acknowledged the other day to the audience at Pirates Fest, they focused on all kinds of other numbers and left the wins and the losses to us peanut gatherers. And now, given that they apparently, maybe, possibly are running out of clock, they're forced to stoop down to our level and measure everything that they do based on wins and losses at the Pittsburgh level. And in that bizarre response to the fan the other day, Charrington was trying to make it sound like, I don't know, like he's one of us or something. He gets winning. I can't with these guys. Let's do it again tomorrow, everybody.